Hey y'all, it's your girl Mac. Welcome to my podcast. Welcome to the show. This is Mac Reviews. I am doing a review of Love After Lockup Season 3, Episode 43. Listen, I don't be paying attention to the name. I see it, but I don't note it. I don't put it in my notes. So I'm going to talk about Anissa and Jeff first. So Jeff apparently is buying up a lot of stuff because Anissa is letting him use her credit card. He hasn't gotten a job yet. He's still, on house arrest at her place. And but she's introduced him to online shopping, and she said he's spending thousands of dollars. And I'm kind of like, why would you even give him your credit card? Why would you allow him? I don't even think that she gave it to him. Maybe she has an Amazon account and she's just letting him use it, which again, why are you letting him use it? But so he's like, and he's not buying, I don't know what other stuff he's buying, but he's bought a drone. And I know drones come in like different sizes, but like, I don't know how cheap they are. Like, I don't know if you could buy a drone for $20. I don't know what the prices go for, but and I guess she got him a phone, or I don't know if she bought that phone or if that's a phone he already got from someone else, some other woman that was sending him money. But so she's saying she's a little concerned because, she's working and paying the bills and everything. I don't know how many days this is after he's been there with her. I don't remember if they put it on the screen. So then her friend Kyle comes over and he sees that he's playing with the drone and stuff. And he starts having a conversation with Jeff, and he's really straightforward. And he's like, "Yo, it looks like you're spending all this money." And Nessa told me, she's concerned because her money's running low, blase, blase, blase. And Jeff pretty much doesn't like that Kyle is saying anything. And Kyle is saying to him, "Yo, when are you gonna tell her about the situation with you having a son or whatever?" And again, Jeff just feels like, yo, it's none of your business. You don't need to be saying anything. Like, just let me handle my business with my woman. He said, like, husband and wife. I'm like, y'all are not husband and wife. You're not married. So, like, whether or not it's appropriate for Kyle to say anything, I mean, honestly, he does have a right to say something because, and I kind of feel like Kyle really held himself. Not that he needed to get mad, but he could have really put this guy in his place because he's like, oh, you don't need to say anything. That's just between me and her. But he's like, okay, but of your own, you are the one who said when you were first talking to her, you were just talking to her to get money. You said yourself that you weren't in love with her and you were just using her. That's what you said. So I'm concerned for her because of that. And he should have not only said that, I think he would have been within his rights to be like, she's my friend. You stood her up twice and you've been leading her on for 11 years. So yeah, I'm going to say something about it. Like, you don't know what she went through and how sad she was. You tried her twice and for 11 years she's been sending you money. So nah, I'm going to say something. Like, where does Jeff get off? Like the entitlement that some of these criminals have is unbelievable. You've literally done nothing to contribute to society. You don't make money legitimately. You have no right to anything. But anyways, and I'm getting irritated because I heard that, I don't know if this is real, that Jeff posted a GoFundMe to get money to get his teeth fixed, and he wrote this sob story. And I'm like, he's already raised, I haven't checked it, I just saw it yesterday. I didn't click on the link, I just saw the article with the screenshots. $576 from 12 people, and I don't know who these people are, why they're giving this man money, but he wouldn't get a cent from me. I'm not giving my money to somebody. Listen, he's made his choices, and yeah, okay, you're on a show, you want to get your teeth fixed, I understand, but get a job. Get a job. Not only get a job, he's been on this show. You're on a show. Where's the money from Love After Lockup? I know you got paid. I know Anissa got paid. That money should be able to add up. So nah, not gonna let this dude scam me and other people after he done scammed this lady for 11 years. Why didn't you save up all that money she sent you so you could get your teeth fixed? Get out of here, boy, bye. Yeah. So Kyle goes in and to the house and he tells Anissa about the 18-year-old son, and Anissa's just like, well, he even said that that's not really a big deal. If he's 18, why are you holding something like that back? Because that would have happened before y'all met. So is he telling the truth? Blase, blase. So Anissa does want to talk to him about it, and she says she's going to, and that's the end of their scene. So yeah, so now I'm going to talk about Brittany and Ray, because this was the most uncomfortable scenes in the episode. I watched it on the replay and I had to fast forward a little bit because it got awkward. Ray's family is coming over now. His mom, his dad, his stepmom, his dad, he has 2 little sisters and a little brother. He's the oldest. They look like teenagers. His auntie, his uncle, I guess his cousins, like the whole family came over to see him. And they just, they were really happy to see him, and they were vibing. I think Brittany cooked, and it was just good vibes, but then the mom and dad were starting to ask, like, okay, when is he going to meet your parents? Is she, she's going through her spiel again and her excuses, and they're a little surprised. And then Ray's dad and his little brother, go in the backyard to talk to him, and the dad's just like, man, what did she say? Like, why isn't she trying to let you meet her parents? And Ray is like, I don't know. And the little brother is kind of trying to put a positive spin on it or whatever, but like Ray is saying he feels confused and stressed that she hasn't introduced him to her family. He feels like she's hiding him. So I just want to say that I don't know why this is so important to him. I mean, he's saying that, meeting family, that's really important. And I get that. But the dad is like, he comes from a good background. He's a good guy. They need to give him a chance to see him for who he is. And I understand all that. But I'm a little confused as to, why his family is acting like they don't know that their son just got out of prison. I'm very confused. I'm not saying that Brittany shouldn't introduce him at some point, but I don't get, do y'all not realize that she's got this guy living in her house? She's paying the bills. He's doing nothing. He just got out of prison. How has your son been living? I don't understand. They're acting like he just graduated from college and he has a big job and he has his own place and he's doing well in life. This dude just came out of prison. What is he going to talk about with her family? I don't understand why they're pretending like him being in prison has no impact on this situation. The fact that this man has been living as a criminal for his whole adult life has no impact on this grown woman who has her own house and her own job and her stuff together, introducing him to her family. I'm so confused why they're acting like that has nothing to do with the situation. Because it has everything to do with it. And for Brittany, she chose to deal with this dude, so she has to deal with the consequences. You're only going to be able to hide this dude for so long. And at the same time, part of me feels like maybe her family did already know that he got out, because this is a TV show, and they needed to have a storyline. And I just feel because her parents and everybody had to sign the waivers to appear on the show. So maybe they already knew he was staying with her. Anyways, yeah, so so he tells her, hey, I want you to tell your parents that I'm here, because that'll show me that you're serious. And she's like, okay, so you're saying if I don't tell my dad or make the time to tell my family, now I'm not serious? And he's like, yeah. So she calls her dad and she's like, yo, I need to talk with you. Can we meet tomorrow? And her dad agrees. So I guess she's going to tell her dad on the next episode. So that's their situation. Let me talk next about Stan and Lisa. So this is the day after, they did their little business. He brings her breakfast and flowers in the bed. And Lisa says she says something about what they did or whatever. And it sounded like some kind of slang. I don't know if that's some type of St. Louis slang or some prison slang. I didn't really understand it, and I don't want to understand it because I understand it. I do understand that she was probably talking about whatever they did sexually, and I don't want to know. So, so apparently she starts asking him about buying her a car again, and apparently he did promise to buy her a car in prison. He admits that. And so he says to her, okay, well, if I'm going to be investing that type of money, I need to know where we stand. What is going on? What is going on in the future with us? And he says that he dated a girl before and he bought her a car and she left him, which means he probably put the car in her name, right? So she just needed that, and then she was going to go and, pay it off or whatever, unless he just bought the car cash and paid the whole thing off. And so then he's saying, yo, like, would you do that to me? Would you just leave? And she doesn't say yes or no. She's just like, oh, let's see how it goes. Let's see what happens. And she wants to take it one day at a time. And she's saying, I'm still married to 2 dudes. Like, I have to get that straightened out. So, but he's like, he's thinking like, okay, I'm going to invest this money. I need to have a commitment. And that's, she's not really trying to like, commit because she want, So, I think that Stan, like, I don't know. I think that I understand he wants somebody, but I feel like if he wanted more normal things sexually, it might have been easier for him to find a woman to have a transactional relationship with. But I think because of these specific things that he likes, that I think not every chick is down to do, that's why he's dealing with her. Because I was wondering, why is he dealing with this chick? Why? Not that Stan is some type of stud, because he's not. But I just mean, like, it's other women out here who will agree to a sugar baby, sugar daddy arrangement. You know what I mean? And they'll say, yeah, you're my boyfriend, I'm your girlfriend, as long as you're paying my bills. You know what I mean? They're willing to do that stuff to get, their bills paid, or to get extra money or whatever it is. And she's kind of like, why is he scraping the bottom of the barrel with Lisa? But and kind of putting himself in this precarious position with somebody who's a scammer. And I think it's just because she's willing to do the types of sexual things he wants to do, and it's probably a little harder for him to come by somebody who's willing to do what he wants to do. So, was into the type of stuff he's into. So, yeah. So, they go to a car lot, and apparently he paid off $3,200 worth of tickets for her. And I was like, wow. All she had, never mind. So they go up to the salesman, and I don't know if this guy is an actor, because he asked Stanner who's the car for, but then he's like, are you her dad? And I'm like, okay, why are you asking that? Why are you being shady? Like, he could be an actor, or if he is the real salesman, obviously the producers prepped him beforehand and were like, this guy's older, she's younger. They told him what the situation was, and maybe kind of said, hey, if you want to ask this, that, or the other, because I'm like, why are you asking that? If you're a salesperson, the first thing you want to do is get on their good side. Not that I know everything about sales, but you want to be on people's good side. Like, why would you even say something like that? So they do end up picking a car, settling on a car, and he does agree to put the down payment on the car. The car is $12,500. Might have been a used car, $12,500, because looking at it, it looked like kind of a smallish SUV, and he was going to put $4,000 to $5,000 down. So he said he would prefer to put it in her name and let it be a gift to her. But obviously he can't put it in her name because she doesn't have a license. And so that's kind of my thing. On the one hand, it's probably smarter for him to put it in his name, because if she starts acting up, he can take it back. But, she said the first time she got arrested in her life was that she went and she test drive the car, and she drove it away and drove it to Ohio. And I was confused when she said that, because I was like, when you test drive a car, the salesperson is in the vehicle with you. So I was like, did you kidnap the salesperson? Did you tell them to get out? Like, did you put a gun in their face? Like, what do you mean? But that was her first time that she said she got 5 or 6 years or something. So, and obviously it's a reason why her license was revoked. So clearly this is somebody who's not a responsible driver. And so I don't even know why he would want to put it in her name. But if it's in his name, he's probably worried about any issues she might get into. But clearly, I don't know if he bought the vehicle or not. Clearly, it was in his name. So, you know, he said he wanted to help her build up her credit, but he better be careful. I mean, obviously, he's going to pay it regularly and everything. It won't impact his credit. But, like, if she wrecks it, or I don't know, you know, but she might just, you know, steal the car anyways and go off. But he's like, okay, not about you a car, what about marriage? And he's laughing, and you know, she brushes it off or says, you'd have to get me a big ring or something. And like I said, I'm still married to these two dudes. And he's like, yeah, we got to get that straightened out. And so she says she's not being totally honest with him and that she doesn't need to tell him certain things. And she's texting with somebody, and the text is like, oh, I'm about to get a ride. And then she's like, okay, work it. And she's putting the dollar. So this is, I'm saying she because I'm assuming it's a woman, but clearly this is somebody that she's told about the situation with Stan. So yeah, that's them. Next, we're gonna talk about the two most interesting couples, right? Deontay and Nicole. Should I talk about Rachel and Doug first and then do Deontay? I'm gonna do Deontay and Nicole first because Nicole really makes me sick, and I don't want her to be like the last thing on my mind. So Deontay, we see him the next day, and he's saying he's so heartbroken over seeing Nicole with her ex, Zach Kaka. I'm saying Kaka's a 2Ks. And he feels so betrayed. Oh my gosh. And he's like, he put all his trust in her or something, and his all into her, some crap like that. And he said he let his guard down for her, and I was like, why? Why would you do that? Like, I'm gonna talk later. I think Deontay is really shallow, you know, because who lets their guard down with somebody who does nothing to show them, like trust is earned. If somebody literally does zero but talk and say like nice things, that's not enough to trust them. Like, they have to show you through their actions and their behavior that you can trust them. Like, he let his guard down for no reason. He let his guard down just because he wanted to be able to do that with somebody. And he wanted it to be, you know, who he finds attractive. He says he has a weakness, putting air quotes, for white women and Latino women. He wanted a white woman, and he just wanted a relationship. He had no standards about it, no requirements, nothing. So you're a fool. And I think that's pretty shallow. Somebody who gives away trust for nothing, that's shallow. That's 1 inch deep. Like, so... he said that he had seen her picture she had with him on her IG from before, like when they first met. So he was saying, you know, he deserves better than that, and he deserves somebody who's gonna, you know, be faithful to him and everything and appreciate him, and not just to be somebody's, like, you know, low rate second choice. And I'm like, yeah, you do deserve better. Please, talk to yourself, get your self-esteem up. And then, so he goes to meet his friend Derek at a gym, and he's telling him what happened. And Derek is like, okay, you know she's a hoe. I know she's a hoe. She knows she's a hoe. Everybody knows she's a hoe. So why are you still dealing with her? Like, let her go. Leave her behind. And so then Nicole calls him, of course, conveniently. And she's asking him if they can talk, and she's like, I can't talk to you tonight, but I can talk tomorrow. And this man doesn't even ask her why she can't talk tonight. And that made me wonder if, like, okay, wait a minute. Why did he not even ask her? You're telling me it didn't come to his mind to be like, why can't you talk tonight? Like, anyways. He said he can't help that he loves her, and it's not easy for him to just let her go. And then Derek is like, I can't help that you're a dump. And I was like, tell him the truth. Like, what are you talking about, sir? Like, and then he's talking about he ain't ready for it to be over. And I'm just like, this man is talking in circles. Like, what are you talking about? And then, so then there's a scene of her saying that, you know, she doesn't want to go back to prison, obviously, but she says she likes partying. She pretty much, what she's saying is like, it's okay to like to have fun, but you're like, if you're not an heiress, if you don't come from money to where you don't have to work and you don't have to do anything to earn money, you're gonna have to be responsible. You're gonna have to find a way to make an income and pay bills, and you work during the day and you have fun at night, or you go out on the weekends. Like, that's what normal people do. They have hobbies, they go they do what they have to do. There's a time and place for everything. You work or you do whatever you have to do. You have a business, there's people making money off social media. Like, you do whatever you need to do to have your income. Then you do fun things at night, or you spend time with family, people you care about. Like, you live. That's what responsible, normal, healthy people do. You can't just party all the time, have no responsibilities, and do nothing. And it just kind of shows her immaturity. I don't know if she's trying to avoid something, because it's kind of like, why does she have no goals for herself? You know what I mean? Like, why does she not want to do anything with her life other than party? That's kind of also questionable as to what's wrong, because that's also not healthy to want to just not do anything but party and have fun and never have any responsibilities, have no goals, have no ambitions, have no vision for yourself. I mean, it's not only immature, like I said, but it's kind of like, what's going on with you? Because that's not 100% healthy to just not want to do anything but those things. Like I said, you can't just do that every day, all day. Like, you don't have no other interest in life. Like, nothing. So yeah. And then we finally get to meet the infamous Tia. She goes and meets her at a restaurant. She comes to visit her because apparently Tia lives in Maryland. So she comes to visit her, and Tia is definitely butch. She's obviously a young girl, so she doesn't really look like a man. Like, she's young in the face and she has a small frame. But she dresses like a man. She's got face and neck tattoos, like almost everybody on this show, every criminal on here. And she pretty much looks like a guy. Like, if I was walking down the street and she just walked by, I wouldn't have known that was biologically a woman. So yeah. But she looks like, because she's younger, she doesn't look like as rough as Lisa looked. Like, she looked clean and, because of her youth. And she was dressed better, right? Like, she was a stylish butch. But they're clearly very into each other. She sells us some things, both of them, that I'm like, wow, they've had a interesting courtship. I don't know what to call it. Courtship. She said that she fell in love with her in prison, and that she's the one that got away. She said that her mom doesn't like Tia because Tia has an attitude problem like her. She said when they were in prison, they had a fight and they broke up, and Tia spat in her face, and she grabbed her when she tried to walk away, and she spat back in her face. And yeah. So then Tia apologized to her for all that or whatever, and they're just flirting, and they do end up smashing. I don't know again why these people want to show us these scenes, but I was watching the replay, so I fast forwarded. So yeah, I still don't like Nicole. She's, Derek said it right. So lastly, let's talk about Rachel and Doug. So Doug, he's on day 37 out of prison. So I haven't, for what I know at this point, he's not in prison. So I guess, this was from last year. I think Rachel, I heard her in an interview this week on a podcast, and she said this show, when he got out, it was July. Was it May or July of last year? So, he's made it. He's made it. He ain't go back to prison. So, obviously, I haven't heard anything. So, he's made it a year. Good for him. But when we're watching this scene, this is day 37 of him out of prison. He said that his family, Dougie, Lil Dougie, and Rachel is his motivation to stay out. And he does say a couple things. He says that Dougie has clear expectations out of him. And he says that he's trying to take the right steps to earn Dougie's trust. And I was glad to hear that. Maybe he did go to a therapist to understand that, you have a responsibility to your son. It doesn't make sense for you to expect him to just respect you and listen to what you have to say when you haven't been in his life. Like, that does not make sense, sir. So I'm really glad that he understood that. So I hope that he's been acting accordingly since then. I hope, I'm sorry we don't get to see the action steps, but behind that. So Rachel is thinking about what his sister said, and it did get in her head. You could tell she was concerned about it, and she was like, man, I don't want it to be true. I hope it's not. But even she was like, man, that sounds naive. Like, she knows how it sounds, but she really hopes that, it can be different. That he'll act differently. And so then we see that Big Doug goes with his friend Mike, who I'm not sure if it is his brother or his cousin, because him and Big Mike resemble each other in the face. And Big Mike, was he named Big Mike? I don't know. Did I just give him a nickname? I'm gonna call him Big Mike, I guess. Big Mike looks like Dougie as well. Like, he has the kind of same face. He's like Fat Doug, and he's as tall as Doug. Like, they're the same height. So I wonder if that's his actual brother or his cousin. I mean, he wasn't at the family house, but he might be a family member, because then he said my brother Mike, which that could just be his homeboy he's calling up brother, your friends, sis, bruh, but he looks like him and little Dougie. So he wants to get a wedding ring. He got a job. Like, sounds like he's packing trucks, shipping trucks, that type, manual labor. And it sounds like it's not air conditioned, the place where he worked. Hopefully if he stays out of prison, he can focus on, like, he said he did a trade. Like, see if you can go to school and do another trade. I mean, welding, like what, what's his name? Deontay does. Deontay, that's a good trade. I mean, he's probably just starting out. $24, it probably goes up. That's always an employable job. Things like that, I mean, he should see if he can go and do that. So, yeah. So, anyways, he wants to get a ring. I suppose he ends up getting it. I don't know what money he bought it with, but maybe he got an advance on his money from the show. He takes her to this, like, lake in Detroit. Not lake, a park. It looks like a park, and he just gives her the ring by this lake. I don't know which lake it is. I know that's Michigan, so it's one of the lakes up there. Probably because they don't have canals and stuff, not like Florida. So, she was happy, and she said, this is the happiest she's ever been in a relationship. And anybody who doesn't listen to spoilers, I'm not going to say anything else. Some of the other people, they just say the spoilers and they don't consider that. Some people don't want to hear that. So we'll see. But when I was watching this scene, I felt for Rachel a little bit, because I heard her on an interview on a podcast, and Rachel, her story is a little deeper than a lot of us realize, and it's not as simple as her being desperate. The first inmate she was with, she didn't meet him in prison. He was out of prison. He contacted her on Facebook, and she just agreed to go on a date with him, and he ended up passing away from an overdose. And he passed away like they had broken up. Like, she had broken up with him, they had a fight, and then he passed away. And that was the last conversation she had with him that was a fight and them breaking up. And I think that affected her, And then she said after that she started volunteering with, like, addiction recovery and stuff. And then, the guy she was with was a drug addict as well. And I think that Rachel says she's tried everything. She's gone to church, she's done online dating, she's done all these things. And so I think that she just really wants to be with somebody, and it's just been hard from her. And I relate to that. I understand that dating and finding somebody's not easy for everybody. Some people, it just works out. You got people out here who don't date, and they meet the person and they get married. Then you have people who every relationship they've ever been in was happy and pleasant, it just didn't work out, and then they get married. You have people out here who don't know what it's like to ever struggle and date. They don't know what bad breakups are. But there's others of us who have a hard time. It's not easy. So I feel for her, and I understand, like, that little part of her sitting on that bench with him, I felt for her, because you know, a lot of us just want that. We want to get married. We want a commitment. We want to just have a healthy relationship. But it's not, love is not all you need. Good sex is not all you need. You know, you both people got to be mature. But I mean, there's a lot of things that go into it that Big Doug just doesn't have, and he's not ready for. He can't handle a woman like Rachel. And what I mean by that is he cannot be what she really needs him to be. So, when they're leaving, she's saying that, you know, she's really glad that he bought the ring, and it shows her that he's serious because he didn't have to do that since they were already married. And that makes me wonder, like, did she buy the ring that they used at the ceremony? But anyways, he was on his phone when they were leaving, and she's like, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm on my social media, and she's trying to look, and he's like, stop being nosy, you know, whatever. So yeah, so, you know, that was the episode. It was not, I mean, it wasn't like a super exciting episode, but apparently this is the last episode for the season finale, which shocked me. Next week is the season finale, and I went back and I looked at my reviews, and that's 10 episodes, and this is a short season. We've definitely had more episodes in the past. I mean, we never had like 22 episodes or like a full season, but it's definitely been more than 10. The pandemic probably limited what, you know, they could record and really put out. So I get that, but it definitely feels incomplete. And I know that Life After Lockup is premiering. I'm not that excited about that. We have a few couples on this season that we're going to be seeing. So we're going to pretty much continue to see Brittany and Ray are going to be on Life After Lockup, Deontay and Nicole, and Stan and Lisa. So we're going to continue to see them. Yeah, and also, you know, Courtney and Rachel just turned out to not, Courtney and Josh, just that ended up being a bust, you know? Like, wow, I really thought that we would see more from them. And it just ended up being a really not much happening between them. I thought they were going to be one of the really more interesting couples, and just nothing ended up happening between them. Just, wow. Or we'll see. So yeah, thanks for listening, guys. That is my review. Next week's season finale, I did my reaction to the Life After Lockup trailer, so check that out. It's short, it's like 6 minutes. I also did a reaction to the 90 Day Fiancé The Other Way trailer. Both of these shows are premiering at the end of August. I will be covering both. I'm glad to return to 90 Day. I did not watch HEA because it was terrible. But yeah, follow me on Twitter at MacReviews. And thanks for listening. Bye, guys.